Okay, so the next question that I have is, so DVDs and Blu-ray discs are slowly fading out. No one really uses those anymore. But there are some companies that do offer them, maybe for the parents, maybe for grandparents, because they don't have access to a computer or know how to download the video. So how are the videos delivered nowadays? And if a client does come to you and asks about getting a DVD, Blu-ray for that case or that instance, what do you tell them?
I mean, at the end of the day, it is 2020. There's a lot of video streaming websites. You're able to send videos, pictures through email. You could do websites like SmugMug to like stream pictures as well. But at the end of the day, how I deliver videos is either through YouTube or Vimeo, which is basically a higher quality YouTube. You could easily post the link on Facebook, and all your relatives, from whether I'm Filipino. My sister's wedding, she posted on her Facebook, and family from the Philippines could stream that from the Philippines. It's just that much easier. If a bride and groom couple wanted to get a DVD or a Blu-ray disc, like that probably wouldn't even be an issue. I could, if that's what they really wanted. Hey, like honestly, like the video's done already. Let me just burn it on the disc and just send it to you. Like I probably wouldn't even charge you extra for that. But you'll always have the option to stream it on YouTube, Vimeo, or even send it via email, and you could forward that to all your family, friends, or whoever else.
So I've actually run into that a few times, and it's the same thing like Teddy said. A lot of it's delivered, either file format that you can put right on your computer, YouTube, Vimeo, file transfer, something like that. Because the world is digital. I mentioned earlier that digital is forever. And that's kind of true. A digital file is never going to go away. A disc can break, it can be lost, it can be scratched, and then you're out of luck. A lot of what I see now, at least in my proceedings with it, there's one company that they won't let you buy just a single disc. You have to buy bulk of like 25 minimum. And even at that, you're going to pay a couple $100 for it. So I try and discourage it, even for the people who, it's for elders who don't really have a computer, or they don't have a smart TV that can stream it, or Apple TV, anything like that enables that. I still try and discourage it, just because it's going to cost them way more than it should. And although, yes, like most Mac computers now, Apple computers, they can burn if you have a disk drive for it, an optical drive. A lot of the times it's not the correct format. So you need an Apple computer to play it, or else it's worthless. You can't just put it in a PC optical drive and play it. There's a certain format that, it's called an ISO format, that you have to put the file in order to burn it correctly to be played on a DVD player. Most of us don't have that kind of software. It's very expensive and specialized. So it's not usually recommended. If that is something you wanted to go down the route for, Eddie said, we can most likely accommodate it, but not really recommended at this point. And the same thing goes for Blu-ray too. It's the same process. It's actually more complicated because of how high quality it is. No real civilian or anything like that has the software or the capability to do it.
Right. Awesome. So next question. So there we get hired for multiple weddings a year, sometimes 3 or 4 in a weekend. So what is the average turnaround for a bride and groom? Like, what can they expect the average turnaround being to receive their final product in the end?
Go ahead.
Typically for me, I say depending on the workload, depending on how many weddings I have that season, how many other projects I have backed up. Typically, I always, on my contracts, I say up to 3 months, but that's usually the tail end of things. I always try to get things out to clients within like 30 to even 60 days, probably even less. But with any business, quick turnaround times are very important, but you don't want to sacrifice quality for releasing the video super early, So I always tell our clients or couples, be patient, and you'll just love the product in the end 10 times more, rather than if you get it the next day. Right. Some companies offer same-day edits. We offer same-day edits as well. But at the end of the day, you're you're sacrificing a lot to get that project done within 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours. So you're lacking on things like perfecting the audio, perfecting the color, maybe putting together a well put story, you know? So taking that, I think there's a lot to be said about being patient with especially a wedding film or any other video project moving forward.
Good. Good.
Mike, do you have anything on that? Oh, I guess not.
It's coming in and out.
You may have a little connection issue.
We'll catch Mike a little bit.
I pretty much say the same thing as Teddy too. Like, you know, I think we put in the contracts 3 to 5 months, but it's not, you know, it's not set in stone that it's going to take 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. You know, it really depends on the client. I know, like, come busy season, which is pretty much, you know, August through November, you know, we're pulling quadruples, sometimes quintuples in a week, and it's very, you know, it's significant enough to say that we need to give each of our couples the same amount of attention. You know, at least the way I go about it is I put myself in their shoes. You know, if I was the client, would I want them to rush through it and get it to me in a month? And it could have been twice as good if I just waited another week. You know, that's the trade-off. If you want it sooner, it may not be as good as it could be, like Teddy said. You know, you're making sacrifices, but we do try and keep a cap on how long it takes, because I want to see it too. I want to see the final product. So yeah, it's very touch and go, because if something needs a little bit more attention, like the color needs a little bit more attention, we'll spend the time on it, because it's a reflection of our work and our ethic ultimately. And I mean, this is a product that's going to last you a lifetime. Right. And it needs to be handled with care.
I totally agree on all of that. I think that a lot of times, you know, sometimes brides and grooms will expect the turnaround to be so fast because they're so excited about it, and understandably so. Just know, though, when you do hire a full team, guys, you know, video, you know, will take a lot longer than photo will. Your photographer will turn around your photos sometimes in a week, maybe 2 if they're really busy. Video, like they said, could take upwards of 2-3 months, just because of the intricacy that goes into the editing, from the piecing the video together, to the music, to the coloring, to the making sure it looks good, all the graphics, if there are any, and stuff like that. So that's really, really great stuff to keep in mind, everyone.
Okay. I know, like, I'm like a perfectionist and neurotic with it. So I won't release anything until it's to the standard of what I would expect for my own wedding. And I mean, that sometimes to get the story just right, it takes a little bit longer, and that's just the nature of it. You know, I wouldn't want to release a product halfway done or something I don't feel comfortable with, because you paid me to do a service for you. You know, you trusted me to capture your day. You trusted our team to be there. We spent all day with you. It's the least we can do is to give you the same amount of effort and respect that you gave us.
Right.
You know, and
right, especially on the back end too. You know, when
right.
we're editing, it takes a while to get those images and those videos to look the absolute best they can be. And the reason why the emotions start flowing when you see your wedding day again on a video is simply because of the time and effort that was put in making those videos to be the absolute best they can possibly be.
Right. We go through every single clip that we take through a day, and that could be upwards of, you know, my camera, I could have shot 300 individualized clips, and, you know, Teddy could have shot 500. So we're going through anywhere from 500 to 1,000 clips to make sure we get the best angle, the best shot of your ring, the best shot of your first dance, your first kiss, your parent dances. You know, what if Uncle Joe decides to do a backflip and we got it? You know, we got to get just the right angle of it between the two, 3, 4 cameras, however many we have there, to make it the best it can be, and it's worth it in the end.
Exactly, and I think one of the biggest parts about it too, shout out to other videographers and filmmakers out there, is just the music choice, man. It's just going through pages and pages and pages of the right music, because at the end of the day, a couple may want a certain song, but being professionals and being that these like famous songs out there, they have copyrights on them, you know. We don't want to risk the chance of us getting sued and stuff, so we have to get copyright free music. and you'll find a couple good ones, but it takes quite a long time just to go through logs and logs and logs and just.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, we can't make your favorite Ed Sheeran song the bed to your video, but we'll do our best to accommodate that kind of style. And we have licenses to a bunch of different libraries that they're updated daily with new music. And a lot of times, if what I'll do is I'll actually have the couples go and look through the libraries to pick their songs, so I know for a fact they're happy with the music, they're comfortable with how it sounds, and it represents what they want.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good point that you guys bring that up, because that was going to be one of my next questions. Was the music aspects of the videos? You guys have to, as far as when clients, hire video, like Marty just said, Ed Sheeran is a perfect example. Whatever love, like Dan and Shay, right? They're another.
Dan and Shay.
So like those artists, they have covers for their music. So when you guys have to go through libraries, how do you guys deal with a client who insists on using one of those songs for their video and stuff like that? What actions do you guys take, and what advice would you give to a client that has that sort of dilemma, pretty much?
I mean, for me, we have to be real about it. We have to be honest about it. I'll start off by telling them, the reasons why we can't license it, which are being mainly it costs, an astronomical amount of money. And for something that we do, say you pay us, just made up numbers here, they pay us $2,000 to shoot, a short highlight film for them, right? The license to get Ed Sheeran's perfect, right? Let's say that, right? That's like one of the top songs. The license for it is like 2, 3, 4 times the amount that you paid us just to shoot your wedding and edit it. And ultimately that's not coming out of my pocket. That's coming out of yours. We have to charge you to license the music. It's not for me, it's for the client, right? So all that gets baked in there. You could be paying $12,000, $13,000 just for a piece of music on top of what you have to pay us to shoot the wedding. And these are made up relative numbers, just for example's sake. But it's just not worth it. And for us to go and just, we'll do it anyway. We're not that big of a company. No one will ever see it. It does happen. All it takes is the right person to see it on YouTube, slide it across the desk of an executive, and we're sued. And that's not something that, any of us want. I don't want to do that to me. I don't want to do it to Teddy. I don't want to do it to the clients, because then that makes a mess of a problem for them. So it's kind of just like, it's a non-issue. It's not an issue to begin with. We just can't do it. If we had, a multi-million-dollar budget and it was a feature film, sure, we'll get whatever song you want. But unfortunately, it's not the industry, and we can't do it. So we go through and we pick the best libraries that we can find, and we pay a subscription every year at our own expense, and we accommodate whatever we can to emulate the style of music.